Hey, welcome back into Tony Talks Trash. Please remember to smash that like button. I keep forgetting to say that. We are going to count down tonight the great, and I hate to say late great because that's his record, but I'm talking about the great Townes Van Zandt. Townes Van Zandt is undoubtedly one of the saddest stories ever in all of music. He loved sad music. He shunned. He really was born into almost royalty in Texas. I think his family was one of the founders of Fort Worth, Texas. His dad was a big lawyer, and but at the same time, he kind of shunned that. I know he had some problems when he was young and received some electroshock therapy, which is really sorry to hear that. He died on January 1st, 1997. In 1944, had a terrible alcohol problem, just terrible alcohol, and was in really poor health towards the end. At one time, he was the most spellbinding performer ever, and he really was able to extend it even to periods of time when he couldn't function near as well. But he's one of these people that was sad, and kind of to get the authenticity of it, really kind of had to live it out. And there are all kind of documentaries you can watch on him. There's all kind of books you can watch on him. Some are pathetic. There's a couple where they talk about taking him out to play music, and he can't get through the set. He can't do it. Plays like a song or two and can't play the chords. And when you're thinking about it, one of the great things about him was his guitar playing, and it's never more evident than on that Live at the Old Quarter. And I did not include that in this list. This is a list of basically 10 records that were put out essentially from his sessions and such when he was alive. And there is obviously a rapid deterioration. You can even tell there's a little bit of a gap in before where he was in trouble with Poppy Records and the Eggers was having trouble with that. And he really started off with him. It's just interesting his entire his entire career. But his whole life, just running around little bars and clubs and colleges and festivals and places, and had bipolar, and when Willie and Merle Haggard, covered Poncho and Lefty and made it just a tremendous big hit. But he's had so many songs that just that penetrated the American consciousness. But what a sad squatter! And you can actually see, during some of the years of this, he never ever sold it. It was never the kind of thing that was meant for a big consumption. And there's somewhere in one of the documentaries that really touched me that Chris Christopherson was talking about. They recognized him, and Chris was going on about how much, how great Townes is. And Townes is the master of the sad, despondent, dark song. And he really, to live it, he had to go down it. And some of the sentiment expressed in his goes from the most beautiful, loving sentiment to just some of the darkest, bleakest, hopeless roads. So let's get started here. I'm going to go. I'm going to originally go here with 1993's Nashville Sessions. Originally was supposed to be called 7 Come 11. Wasn't really it was kind of done a long time ago, but it wasn't released probably 20 years after the fact. So, but anyway, some of the stuff's good. At My Window, of course, is a great song. Rex's Blues, of course, we heard that a bunch. No Place to Fall is a good song. Snake Song's good. So, but again, I think the fact that this was so out of that, but they're talking about at the point in time when Townes was having trouble with heroin, and Townes had talked about it. And you hear this from Steve Earle, you hear this from a lot of these other people. I mean, this guy lived a rough life. And this is kind of in the situation now where they're trying to salvage something here. and that's kind of what it came out with. It wasn't released until 1993 for his ninth record. And the truth of it is that, like we said, he died about 4 years later, so he really wasn't towards the end. Last few years things weren't going good. And while we're at it, we'll put up another one that I don't have, which to me is kind of it was really the last record where he recorded any of his own songs. After At My Window was released, the last the last to be released here, and the release date was 1994, 3 years before here. On Sugar Hill Records. So at least one of the good labels out there, one of the good boy labels came through, and he went up, and actually Phil Donnelly was the guy that had originally started here. But there's a lot of decent songs here, but unfortunately at this point, I think the problem is it's great to see him there, but his participation in it was sparse. Instrumentally, where some of the best stuff, my favorite stuff, was hearing his guitar playing in the studio with the effects and stuff of it. But Blazes Blues was good. Going down to Memphis, Marie, Lover's Lullaby, did the song for the Cowboy Junkies, on it, which is it's okay. But and Towns does play on a couple songs, especially I think only really the last song, Gone Too Long, is the only one I thought he was on playing. And might be the fact. But anyway, Towns Van Zandt record, yes. In name, yes, but nowhere near the involvement that things happened later. And so that kind of tells you how I feel about Nashville Sessions of No Deeper Blues 9. Neither of those two I would give anybody who's really looking. I'd say 2.5 stars. It's kind of shame that this is what it was. But let's go to number 8 here. And well, I'll get to these other ones here in a minute. Number 8's going to be the first one here on Sugar Hills. It's At My Window, decent record here. For the sake of the song, again, another remake of that one, Blue Wind Blue, Snowing on Raton, another good one. But this is a full band here. You've got Jack Clement producing a lot of this stuff here. Kenny Malone playing drums. It was all done digitally. He was still in decent shape at this point. He could still deliver. Catfish song, Gone Blue, Still Looking for You. So this is the one, really, I would say, if you want to stay out of some of the sad, his lifestyle affecting his performance, this is probably the last straw of that. It's on a gold Sugar Hill record. They felt great being able to release Towns Van Zandt's records, and I'm sure if Towns kept it together, they would have released them as long as he could do it. So, really, just yeah, man, good stuff. But we're going now to number 7, and for number 7, I'm going to go all the way back, man. I'm going to go back to the first record. Why am I going back for the first record? There are some unbelievable songs in this. And like everybody says, on your first record, this is the first one on Poppy, this first record that he did, this is one that's supposed to have, well, listen to this lineup. For the sake of the song, Tecumseh Valley, Many a Fine Lady, Waiting Around to Die. But the problem is these are the orchestrated versions. These are the versions with a lot of stuff on it. The second half, I'll Be There in the Morning, Sad Cinderella, I don't know, all these. You go through this, and it's really a revelation. But this was dandied up, and the arrangements are really way too much. And that's why it's not the songs, because a lot of these songs were done later and turned into classics, and these are classics too. The deal is this is just a completely different type of a sound, and a different sound than what makes him sound good. They were trying to make a more of a production of it than it really needed to have. That was my number 6, and that was For the Sake of the Song. No, that's number 7. I'm sorry. That was For the Sake of the Song. Number 6, we're going to go to the first record back after the break. There was a little bit of a break that happened here, and that break, I believe, was in 1980. 1978. It was about a 6-year break between High Low or the late great in this record. And by this record, what do you have? You got Spooner Oldham. You've got so many great people here playing on this. Donnelly, Randy Scruggs, Cogbill, Buddy Edmonds. I mean, you've got a great You've got a great bunch of singers on it too. Chip's Moman engineering the thing, mastered there, designed. And it's just it was done there, and Chip and Casey Moman evidently died born, so it was dedicated to Casey Moman. So this it really meant a lot for Chip to do that. It's produced by him, but yeah, fantastic, man. Kind of out of the grasp, I guess, of originally, out of the grasp of the other folks and that he had going before. This is, of course, is a reissue, but the songs on this have some great classics. I mean, No Place to Fall, Flying Shoes, uh, When She Don't Need Me is kind of hard to deal with. You got Rex's Blues, again, a great song, and another great version of Snake Song. That's a good version here. Well done, well recorded, and Chip's Moment. It's kind of interesting to have a country legend kind of producer do that. But anyway, that's Flying Shoes. There's nothing wrong with that record. It's from 1978, and that's my number 6. Let's go to number 5, and I'm going to go to the first of the two records, or the second, I guess, released in 1971. I guess it was not supposed to be 1972, but this is generally released as beginning of 72 here. You're Not Needed Now, Man. Stand and No Deal, Man. To Live is to Fly. Mr. Mud and Mr. Gold. High, low, and in between. Some of this has got kind of a gospel thing going on. And to me, that's a little bit of a thing that I don't like the tones of it a lot. It reminded me of something like an Alex Chilton or some kind of a Memphis sort of influence with all the stuff on it. Good bit of Don Randy organ on it. Don Randy again is the arranger, so there you go. So that's what happened with it. So Towns came in and played, and you can hear it playing, but you got somebody like Larry Carlton playing on this record. I mean, that's Southern Grove, but No Deal, To Live is to Fly, When He Offers His Hand. All those are just fantastic songs. But during this period of time, my understanding is that Towns lost his girlfriend, and you can find out a little bit more about that. But I think she was murdered or something, and it's really a gruesome thing. It really affected him bad while he was doing this. Of course, he was in the throes of drug addiction at that time. I'm going to go to the where am I now? I'm going to go with number 4. My number 4 is the great, and it's a shame one of them has to be down here. Delta Mama Blues, man. FFB is an old traditional song that was done before. It was rewritten. Tower Song is absolutely one of his greatest songs. And same with Rake. Rake is beyond belief. I mean, there's orchestrated a little bit. There's a little bit of orchestration on it. But the truth of it is this record's really interesting. I mean, he's one of these guys that probably put out. This is one of the ones that were done originally from Tomato, I guess, or maybe not Tomato. Maybe I should look at that before I say it. I think it probably was still one of these poppy records, but yes, that's where it was at. Kevin Eggers production here, 32 minutes long. They're never that little, but Come Tomorrow's on there too. And I'm not talking about the one day that Where I Lead Me, but Tower Song. When you look at the songs here, you're starting to get into just. I mean, most of us would sell our soul for having written one of those songs, and this guy's written 15 songs that would fall into that into that category. When we do the countdown of songs, it's gonna be really tough. So that was my number 4. For not my number 3, I'm going to go back to one, believe it or not, that I couldn't find, and I probably had it because I was playing. So you can put it up there, Joe. It's Our Mother the Mountain. Really a dark record. This stands in contrast. This is the second record. This is after For the Sake of the Song. This one went really down a dark path, at least in production, everything else. Even the covers got him just standing and looking straight. If you have it up there, you can see. But the version of Tecumseh Valley on here, the story about just the devastation because of economics, the girl turns to prostitution. It's some of the most harrowing, dark stuff you've ever heard. The song Our Mother the Mountain, just super, super, super. Uh, St. John the Gambler, man. you know, I've actually sat up here before. I remember one night I played that. I literally got like a chill. It took my breath. I listened. I had to turn my head. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? This guy's just so laid bare on this record compared to the first one. It's still sweet in some. It's still got a little Nashville sweetening to it, but not to the degree that the other one was. The other one went kind of a different direction. But Tecumseh Valley, Kathleen, Jesus God, man. I mean, why she's acting this way, Be Here to Love Me. Jesus God, man. I mean, this is that's what I'm saying. I mean, in the basic things, you have a band, you got somebody like James Burton actually playing on it. So it's this one he's complimented by a lot of players here. You know, Jack Clement, Charlie McCoy is all over this record, you know. So you're thinking, my God, how did he, you know, you hear this thing about him being kind of out on his own and on this small label. Well, those are grade A session man. How the hell he got those guys to play on this record? Who knows? That could be part of why it's so good. The touch is very light. The touch is perfect. It's not overdone as much as the first record done. They backed off on it some. They backed off on it to a great degree. And that's why it is a classic. And it is number 3, Our Mother, the Mountain. For number 2, my number 2 record, I am going to go with the one that's thought of as one of the reckless ones. And you got the picture on the back when you can tell. Yeah, I think he lost his girl, man, and he's kind of off the rails here a little bit. You got the late great Townes Van Zandt, and to me, this is one of the records that if anybody had, and I'd say pretty much if you're on the rock end of things, and you really want to check it out, maybe songs that would be more adaptable to that kind of a thing. This is the one for you now. This is funny. I'm having to peel this off to get this up, but it's a beautiful white record here. This is a limited edition repressing. I think this one I have here is probably worth a boatload of money, but I don't know. But anyway, let me look back and see what they're talking about, what was happening here, because this is about the time that stuff broke down here before Flying Shoes. So you're looking at this, and it still says it's a poppy record at 38, 31. Totally black in here. Look at this, man. No Lonesome Tune, Sad Cinderella. Oh, my God. German Mustard, Don't Let the Sunshine Fool You, Honky Tonk, and Snow Don't Fall. And then I was just singing it before we got on here, man. Fraulein, Fraulein. What a beautiful song. And then Poncho and Lefty, If I Needed You. Silver Ships of Angelar, Heavenly Houseboat Blues. That second side, man, is killer. Executive producer Kevin Eggers again, produced again by Jack Clement. But I'm telling you what, man, this is the one, and it's hard for me to say which is my favorite one. It really is. Here I am, you know, maybe reneging on what I was thinking here because that's just a great one. But if you're thinking about that, man, that only really leaves one. And which one am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the one from 1969. Townes Van Zandt, self-titled. The simplicity of this record, the touch of this record. Jim Malloy was the producer here. The album recorded in Bradley's Barn in Nashville. Completely his songs. New versions of 4 songs from For the Sake of the Song. And here's where he gets it right. For the Sake of the Song. Columbine here. Waiting Around to Die, which is just absolutely crushing. Don't Take It Too Bad. Colorado Girl. He's talking about his early times in his life, going back to the time when he was young, living there. And then one of the all-time great Lungs. I'll Be Here in the Morning. Dreams of Maria. Fairly Well. Miss Carousel. None But the Rain. Yeah, this is my favorite. I mean, everybody's got their favorite one. Our Mother the Mountain is great. You know, any of the top 3, I guess you could say, are probably my favorite ones, but they all have a great number of songs. But I warn you before you get into something like this, because he is so, and his music is so chill and it's so down. that it's almost can be a troublesome. You know, I had an old friend of mine that ended up, you know, ODing and dying years later. But his brother used to be concerned, and he told me, yeah, when I knew he was into Jim Morrison, I knew he was in trouble. And I kind of think of the people that I know, you know, the people that really are down type of people, you know, tonight's the night, and really into what we call mup. You know, you're really just bumming out. This record here, Towns Van Zandt, and some of these other can be like deep holes, like or Mother of the Mountains. So again, like I did Scott Walker, you know, for different reasons, I caution anybody about. I think that you can't deny this guy. I mean, this guy's working on a level, and when you hear these records, his art is working on a level of the greats of all time, no matter where you are. He is a melodic genius regardless of what he did. But he is great in spite of his heroin addiction, in spite of his thing, not because of it. We must remember that. And you can look at the end of some of the pathetic video they have of him when he's older and trying to forced out there trying to make a living, and he can't even get to the finish. He can't do it. But my God, what did he do? His touch, his songs are really among the finest. I mean, I know that. What did Steve Earle say? I'll say it. You know, standing on Bob Dylan's coffee table. Well, I know what he's talking about. I mean, I would agree that his art is absolute as good, and his songs are just spellbinding. So I urge you. My urging to you, if you want to get into this, is, you know, if you've never gotten into it, just take an album at a time. Start wherever you want to start. I would not start at the first one for the sake of the song. You know, I hate to tell you to start with Our Mother in the Mountain because that's the next one, but I guess you could work your way backwards and maybe start with The Late Great or somewhere like that, or Flying Shoes. But all those, like The Late Great's kind of got a reckless spirit to it too. So I'm not sure. It's just kind of dangerous. You know, you gotta have your wits. This guy's brilliant, and you know he took tests and stuff before all this stuff started getting into school. He took his college entrance exams like off the chart. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, you can tell. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Please leave your thoughts about the great TVZ and what your picks are below. I know he means a lot to a lot of people, and I by no means are the greatest expert. I'm just trying to tell you what resonates with me the most and where I'm at today, man. You guys remember, hit that like button again if you can, and subscribe. And I will check you guys next time with something new. Thanks a lot.
Remember standing on the curb at the Christmas parade, scooping up the candy, the snow and the rain. Keep rolling Potomac down that B&O line. It's gonna be just fine.